Welcome back to Nʉmʉ Tekwaru, the Comanche Talk Podcast. I'm your host, Saray Taisakai. On today's episode, we're honored to host our guests and friends from Comanche Academy Charter School, where culture, community, and education come together to empower the next generation of Comanche leaders. All right, well, thank you so much for joining us on the podcast. We're going to take a short, quick moment and kind of let everyone introduce themselves. Tell us your name and your involvement with the Academy.
My name is Brianna Tadanapa, and I am the president of the Comanche Academy Charter School Board.
My name is Shannon Foy. I am the principal/superintendent of Comanche Academy Charter School, and I have also served as the second grade teacher for the school for 4 years.
Yeah, and I'm Jeremy Travis. I am the special education teacher of the Exceptional Student Services Department.
Okay, great. Okay, so can you tell us about the Academy a little bit more for our listeners who aren't familiar? Just share a brief history and the mission of the Academy and what makes it so unique.
So our school started off pre-K through first grade, and our first year of operation was August 2021. We started off, with a small staff. There was myself, Miss Hart in first kindergarten, and Miss Lynette, who was teaching pre-K. And that's where we got our roots to where we're changing to where we're at now, where we have 26 on staff servicing pre-K through fifth grade. We now offer specials and multiple EAs and educational assistants are allowed in our classroom. So it's grown ever since just, that little seed of thought and idea that the founders had to where it is now. It's just blossoming.
That sounds awesome. And I know that y'all have recently moved to a new location. Can you kind of tell us about that part of the growth?
Yeah. That, we've moved 3 times since our first year. We started off in Taft. It was a huge building for our little bitty little spot. And unfortunately, it didn't get to work out for us in that setting just because of how the building was. And then we were offered the chance to move into the modulars, but we outgrew it faster than what we could contain or hold, So the tribe offered us the chance and the opportunity to move into the Dorothy Sunrise Laurentino building. And they said, will you take it? And, of course, we needed it, and it fits us so perfectly. Every classroom, it has enough space where we meet the capacity for student body to teacher for the ratio settings. So we have our pre-Ks in one room, our kindergartens in another room. We have space for our exceptionalities classroom, space for our first grade classroom, our second grade, a whole entire space for our wellness room, a room where you can go, we call it the breakfast club, where you can go get extra work done. You also have a space for our music class, a space for our library time, our media time. We have a space for third grade, a space for fourth grade, a fifth grade class. We also have a space that's dedicated strictly for our Comanche language class, too.
Oh, cool.
Yes. So this move was the best thing that could ever happen for us to allow all these extra things for our students.
And one of the big topics is the language and the culture. So can you tell us about the Academy's language department and kind of how it's helping preserve the Comanche language?
Well, my experience with the language department is they're constantly finding ways to intertwine the Comanche language with our curriculum. So whether it be numbers, letters, phrases, they're constantly developing different materials and resources for us to use to do that. My first day actually at the Academy, I walked into the gym, and there were grade levels lined up, and they were singing Comanche hymns, and it just moved my heart, to hear, my language, by these young people. And so the language department, they also do, language classes in the classroom. So they come in there and they're actually setting up and having language classes for these kids. And it's so awesome because now, not only do they know who they are, but they're finding ways to connect to that culture and to that identity, and they're being empowered through their language, and it's specific to them. And so it's something that these students have that no other students around here get. And to me, it's just amazing.
So is the culture included in like everyday things like routines, curriculum, ceremonies?
So absolutely. Every morning, it's really cool. We have like a PA system now, and there is a Nʉmʉ script that they read, and they introduce themselves in Comanche, and then they go over, the day, the menu for the cafeteria. We do the pledge. All of these things every morning is incorporated, and so it's so awesome to be a part of that and to watch these kids grow up experiencing something I never had a privilege to experience.
I would like to add that the teachers do instill in the language in their lessons. So if they're doing a math lesson, instead of using English words for like one, they'll say some of two waha.
Okay,
so if they're doing number bonds or they're doing any addition problem, it's Comanche first, and then they still write in English. They replace the word. So if they're learning about dog, they say sadi. The sadi jumped on the pond, but it'll be the sadi jumped, not the dog jumped. So they change the words so they get more of the Comanche in there.
It's definitely like immersion. Like they're just immersed in it from pre-K to kinder all the way through the grade level. So if they stay with us through their academic journey from pre-K to fifth grade, every year they're immersed. They're using it. They're being exposed to it. They're practicing it. They're counting with it. They're eventually learning to read with it. And so it's really cool.
And how are the students responding to learning the language?
I believe they're doing really good. You know, there's a fun thing we have on our Friday ceremony time. This past Friday, I said, "What is Comanche?" And they say, "Academy, Comanche." It's a callback. And then with this last one, I tricked them and I said, "What does Pimado say?" And they went, "What?" But then when I realized, because they said Academy, and I said, Pimado, and they went, Moo. It was just something fun for them where they could connect to it on a daily basis. But it was, once you do that with them, you conversate with them, you bring it home, they're practicing it and they're doing it. Because if you're saying Sakumia and they'll go Sakukamia, they correct us as the adults because, they are the experts because their brains absorb language so much easier than us as adults because they're like little sponges. It's in there. They're proud Nʉmʉ people, and they're proud to teach our culture to everyone. They're proud to speak our language, and you can see it day to day.
That's amazing. My daughter, she comes home, she's in first grade, she comes home from school, and she's like singing hymns, and she's singing songs in Comanche, and I'm like, that is so cool. Like each one of these kids is living their dream.
Yes.
Living the dream.
It was really cool. My son, River, he's in kinder, and this year he randomly came home one day and he was like, "You're a good appa." And I was like, "What?" And he's like, "Appa." And so from the day that he learned the word, he no longer calls me dad. I'm Appa. And so when he called me that, like, it was just the coolest thing to me, and I absolutely love it, But another funny thing that came to my mind about, how did the students respond to the language? Mrs. Foy, there's a trend going on, and it's called 6-7. And so Mrs. Foy said, "All right, here's what we're going to do. If you're going to say it in our school, then you got to say it in Num." And so she's got them going around. How did they say it?
Nabite tatsu. So it's the same thing, but you make it Comanche.
so yeah, she indigenized 6-7, and so stuff like that. That we're having a blast with it, and so I love seeing the kids have that. That, and that's unique to them. You know what I mean? There's no other culture, no other group of kids that are walking around doing that, and so we're creating like these amazing opportunities for them to just have fun with their culture.
Right. And going back to talking about, the classroom, like special education, what does that look like at Comanche Academy?
So, first of all, we decided to call it the Exceptional Student Services, just because, what we've identified in the, in the nation as a whole is there is a, kind of an unspoken epidemic of, different categories that, children can have that are considered disabilities. But we wanted to change the perception of it and call them learning differences. And we acknowledge that not every kid learns the same. And so we have put together a program in a department that specializes in things like, autism, sensory regulation, visual schedules, communication books, things like that, to help our students who don't learn in the traditional way, who may struggle with that, to find different ways to obtain the same academic goals that every other kid has. And so that's something like we're really super proud of that we do offer at Comanche Academy. We may not have, some of the funding and resources as other schools around us, but we make up for that with passion and love, man. We look at the student in a holistic way. And every day they come to school, our attitude is like, if they leave knowing they were loved and valued, then we've done something. And I also noticed that the more, we do that, the more the children get comfortable and they feel safe. And then learning becomes something they enjoy. And so even though we have a special education department, it's become something where a lot of the kids look at it as a cool thing, And so, I'm super proud of what my team has accomplished this year.
Is there anything you'd like to add to
That's
that?
good.
No? Okay.
We could talk about the additions that we've had for the classroom this year.
So absolutely. So, under the IDEA, which, is the federal law we abide by to identify children with disabilities, some kids require what is called a self-contained classroom. And it's just an appropriate environment for, their academic level. And this year we were actually given the opportunity to have that self-contained classroom, which we didn't have last year. And so we were able to literally go to the Autism Foundation Network and kind of tailor fit a classroom designed, top of the line, everything. And it kind of materialized. So it was a vision and it was something we really wanted. And it all came together. And so I'm super happy about that this year, that we do have a self-contained classroom.
So how do you ensure that each student, regardless of their needs, receive that support that they need to thrive?
So that's actually a really great question. The way that we do that is through what is called an IEP, which is an individualized education plan. We have systems in place, progress monitoring, that kind of flag and identify children who may be struggling academically. And normally what happens at that point is I will kind of make contact with a parent and we'll start a pre-referral process. And I want parents to know today that they do have the right to request, that their child be tested and that the process can be started for their kids, and I don't think anybody knows the kid better than the parent. But sometimes we do catch things, and so we'll initiate that process, and there's several steps to it. But at the end, there's actually a legal binding document where, based on the data that's given, we design and develop goals based off of the evaluation reports. From the process, they'll see a doctor to fall into a category of disability, to be eligible for services through the special education department. And so the IEP is like almost like a glove fit for each kid, and the goals are specific to that child. And then the way I always explain it is an IEP, a normal person may be able to reach to a cabinet and pull down a jar of peanut butter. Some kids might need a little stepping stool to reach the same jar of peanut butter. And that's what an IEP essentially does, is it's like a stepping stool to help a student reach and obtain the same academic goals that their peers may have.
Okay,
So,
that's
yeah,
a good way
sorry,
of
it's a big
that's a
mouthful
good way
there.
of understanding it. So can you kind of share examples of the student services that are available? I know you kind of went over it a little bit, but is there like counseling, tutoring, extracurriculars?
So we have several. One that we really see as common is speech services. And we have a phenomenal lady from TalkPath Live who she joins in via Zoom, and we work together, and she does different speech-related games. We have occupational therapy, which kind of helps with life skills, fine motors, gross motors, things like that. We also do pull-outs, which means, like you said, kind of tutoring if a student may kind of have a hard time concentrating in class. And we see that a lot of times with kids who have ADHD, and they may classify or fall under the OHI disability, that they just do better in a one-on-one environment. And so they're able to come down to that classroom I told you about and, spend some time with me just one-on-one. And we also offer the self-contained service, meaning that if a child just is really having a hard time adjusting in a general education setting, that we can move their placement into a self-contained classroom with a teacher that's constantly, working and designing curriculum for that child. So we do all of those things at the Academy.
So now I kind of want to move over to the staff and the students at the Academy. Are is it a majority of Comanche tribal members? Are there non-tribal members at the academy?
Yes, so we have 116 students enrolled, and only 3% of those students are non-Comanche tribal members. So everyone else is Comanche. For the staffing, we are at 13% are non-tribal who don't come from a Comanche home or Comanche household.
Okay. And why is representation so important, especially for our Indigenous youth?
It's, this is a great question because I just had an interaction with a kid last week about this. We were walking down the hall and he had my hand. We were walking and I said, "What's going on?" He said, I'm tired. And I said, "Oh, you're tired. What are you tired for?" And the conversation led on. And, to get him up out of that mood, I was like, "Hey, look, our eyes are the same." He went, "They are." I said, "Our hair's the same." "It is." I said, "Look, our skin, it's the same." He went, "Oh, it is." I said, "See?" And he's like, "Oh, okay." So I don't know what it led to, but for me, that was a powerful moment where I got goosebumps all over my body because, we needed that when we were younger. We needed the representation of being able to look at the kids next to us. "Oh, that's my cousin. Oh, that's my brother." And then the teachers, they're everybody's aunt or uncle, regardless if there is, a relationship tie. But it's a community that we've built because they see each other as family now. Many of them have been together for 5 years since they were six years old, or even our ones that were in pre-K. They've been together for those 4 years, so they see each other as family, and it's just a special feeling to know that you're surrounded by people who know you or they know your family, and you've got connections that go back to our great-grandparents. So you feel that tie in the building. You feel that bond.
And I saw on social media, and I think it was the academy, that you had a contest for the young boys with the longest hair. And it might have been the females too, but why was that so important to do that?
That was something our powwow committee had put on. So this, because it's Native American Heritage Month, they wanted to do special events for the students to honor them. And, boys having long hair, that is something we're trying to take back, and is that power, because we believe that our strength, our family's power, our love, prayers are all held in our hair, and it shows their strength. And the boys in our building, they're unlike any other kids in the society in our world. They get to come to school every day where it's not unnormal for them to have a hair that's long. I cannot tell you how many stories I've heard from the kids in the building that they don't get teased anymore because they have the long hair. No one's pulling their hair. No one's asking them, "Are you a girl?" And, they had to defend themselves. They're protected in our school from that stigma, and it's a safe place for them. And there's, even the adults that work there, that have long hair, they cry because they get to see the phenomenal change that's happened with the students that we have. And they're like, "Oh, I wish when I was younger, this school was here for me."
And what other challenges, if any, have they maybe struggled with, and you kind of have to tell them, like, it's okay, that's your culture, that's your identity? Whether it be, like what they wear, the color of their skin, or things like that. Has that ever been an issue, or have they ever questioned that?
I don't feel like they have. But I know it's something we fight every day, is the generational trauma. That's something, because we're still stepping away from when our grandparents, our mothers and uncles and fathers were in boarding schools. So, many of our parents, we're changing that view of how we want to mother, how we want to father, how engaged we want to be with our families. So that would be the biggest thing we're hitting right now, is we're experiencing a generational change and a healing. So you see that. And that's what our school is trying to do, is our mission is to strengthen that bond of family, and the importance of family, and the importance of student activities in our education.
And so how do you foster like a sense of belonging and identity among the students at the academy?
So I think that's kind of like we celebrate our differences, and we want kids to know that like who you are matters, and like you are enough and you are loved. And there's a lot of affirmations that go into our day-to-day life where we actively have the kids say that when they leave the wellness room. Miss Lynette holds a mirror up and they have to say one good thing about themselves. And so they'll go, I am loved, or I am strong, or I am resilient. And so I think that that's kind of what helps them, be strong, is that they're learning so much more than just like reading and writing. They're learning how to be okay with who I am as a person. And I think that that's something that we all want, is to have a place where we're accepted and we're valued, not for what we bring to the table, but just for who we are. And so that's what is so unique about the Comanche Academy, is we're taking the culture, their identity, and the trauma, and we're literally calling it a healing journey, because that's what we're doing through our heritage, through our ways that, like I said, they may not have been known to me, but now I'm getting to participate and learn as the kids learn. And so all together, we're in this environment where it's like, hey, it's okay to be you. And I love it. Every day I get to come to work. It's not something I have to do, but I am thankful to be in a place where we are fostering that kind of environment, that, you may be different from the rest of the world, but that's not a bad thing. It's a good thing. And to tell them to accept that and receive that, and to be Indigenous, that it is, it's a powerful thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And on that note, I think we are going to take a short break. We're going to hear from our PIO director, JJ, about all the upcoming events for Comanche Nation, and we'll be right back.
Hi, Manatweka Nʉmʉ, Nese Jolene Sconchin, and I am the director of the Comanche Nation Public Information Office. Thanksgiving and the holidays are around the corner, so please take note of the following events happening in Comanche country. November is National Native American Heritage Month. The Comanche Nation Transit is offering all Native American passengers free rides on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays throughout November. You must provide a CDIB. For more information, contact the Comanche Nation Transit Department. The Comanche Nation Fitness Center offers 24-hour fitness center access to enrolled tribal members of the Comanche Nation for a $20 fee. This is available until December the 5th. Contact the Comanche Nation Fitness Center for more information. The Comanche Nation Housing Authority's annual Safety Poster Contest is accepting artwork submissions until December 19th, and it is open to all enrolled Comanche children, kindergarten through 8th grade. Contact the Comanche Housing Authority for more information. The Comanche Nation ICW program's Angel Tree is set up in the administration building of the Comanche Nation complex. The ICW encourages everyone to come pick out an angel from the tree and provide a Christmas gift for a child. The deadline to turn in gifts is December 19th. Contact the Comanche Nation ICW for more details. The Comanche Homecoming Committee will have a benefit all-gourd dance powwow from 1 p.m. to 9 p.m. November 23rd at the Comanche Nation Complex's Watchataker Hall. Come support the organization as they prepare for the July 2026 celebration. The Comanche Nation MMIP program will host an exclusive movie screening of Who She Is at noon, November 24th at the Comanche Nation Complex's Watchataker Hall. A light meal will be provided. Contact the MMIP program for more information. The Comanche Tribal Court's legal aid clinics will take place 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. on November 25th and December 3rd at the courthouse. Contact the Tribal Court for more information. The Comanche Nation offices will be closed November 27th and 28th for the Thanksgiving holiday and will reopen December 1st for regular business. The Comanche Nation Elder Day will take place December 5th at the Great Plains Coliseum in Lawton, Oklahoma. Doors open at 9 a.m. The event begins at 10 a.m. and a light meal will be served at 11:30. There will be vendors and entertainment. The Comanche Nation Transit will provide 2 free destination rides for all Comanche elders on Elder Day. Contact the Transit Department to schedule a pickup. Please note that the contact and application information for the programs I mentioned can be found at the Comanche Nation website, www.comanchenation.com. Also, look at the Comanche Nation News Facebook page and the Comanche Nation of Oklahoma's Facebook page for additional information about the events and activities. You can also find us on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube. Reporting for the Comanche Nation PIO News, Nese Jolene Sconchin. Ura.
Okay, so earlier we talked about the new location of the school. Are there any other updates about the new building and what families could expect in the future being in this new location?
So what we have done this year is we have made our building more secure. So there's only one way to enter the Dorothy Laurentino building. So you need to come in through the front entrance off of, is it 8th Street? Ninth Street. Sorry, that's our old address. But off of 9th Street, you come in through the front, you get let through the door, and then we have another door where you sign in, you receive a visitor's pass to go anywhere on campus that you need to go, and our secretary will, escort you to there. But when you leave, you sign out too. That way we can keep the campus safe and secure. We will be moving towards enclosing the campus all the way with a fence. So the CIP will be working with Mr. Nolan to secure the gates on all the sides. That way we can have a locked, safe campus. Right now we're currently getting a lot of pets that come through the playground, and, the kids are, oh, let me touch the pet, let me touch the doggy. And it's like, no, we don't know whose dog this is or where it came from.
Right.
So, that would help us kind of slow that down when we get unknown visitors on the playgrounds. And
I also want to mention, before it was kind of like you could just walk in and go into the office. And so I don't want parents to feel like maybe like unwelcome that we have like new protocols and stuff like that. So it might be kind of like seem a little strange that you got to come in, sign in, and get a visitor's pass now. But, like she said, it's our obligation to the kids to keep them safe. And we definitely want parents coming up, so don't be deterred now that, you see a tribal policeman and, you got to get the pass and everything. We still want you to come up. We just want to be safe about it.
And, on topic of that, is how has the change of the location impacted probably learning and community involvement? Has it changed at all?
Well, she's, probably going to get more into this than I am. But so when I first started, I was like, man, we need to do community walks. We need to do something. But this year for Halloween, I was like mind blown because we did a kind of like a fall festival, and we opened it to the community, and we had people from across the street, from, the streets surrounding our school. Like, people literally came out and showed up, and it was huge. We had tons of people.
Yeah, we had the PTA. They were the biggest part of our volunteers. So they did a haunted house in the modular building. We had community members from different entities and businesses. They gave out things and passed out candy and information about their businesses, such as 988. Gosh, there was tons of there was booths, like vendors set up, snow cones, popcorn. There was raffle prizes. I mean, I think I won like an OU bundle, but it was just all kinds of fun stuff. Yes. And so that was really cool though to see like the people that live around our school were like, hey, you guys are a school, and so they're starting to kind of see us as that now, and so it's like way more welcoming. They're coming and getting involved, and that's why we have some students enrolled that aren't tribal members now, because people are looking for an alternative to, Lawton Public Schools. And so we're like super happy that they're finding us now. So. Yeah, because that day, and our school, how big it is, it allows for more collaboration with all these vendors coming in and being able to utilize the auditorium on a day-to-day basis for events such as this.
And does this kind of get your minds kind of going for future community involvement and things like that?
Yeah, we could do anything now. Whereas before we're trying to figure out, okay, we have a space this big, how can we fit everything? And so we were getting creative, like maybe having events here or there. But now we have like the space, we have an auditorium, we have a gym, we have hallways. I mean, it's just, we have a courtyard. I think they did pictures actually in the courtyard inside of the school. There were animals. They did a petting zoo. And then you used the assembly. Didn't you have the police come out and talk about?
We do have partnerships with the fire station and the police officers. So they came and did a DARE presentation about safety during Halloween, and we got to celebrate Fire Safety Week. And so the nation's police and fire department came, and the kids got to tour, the fire truck, look all over it, climb in it. So, it's allowing more opportunities for partnerships such as that. Yeah. And we do have events that happen each month. It's a literacy night that we offer. So far, we've done an open house enrollment. That was events in each classroom, each grade level. So you got to go tour the building, walk through it. We did one in August. We did one again in September. And then the October one, of course, was our Halloween one. We kind of combined it together. So we will be having another event on December the 16th. We'll be doing a Christmas program here at Watchitaker Hall. The students will all get up to go sing. So they'll do it grade level. It's usually a well-attended event. You know, the kids get dressed up. They're so excited to perform. And they will be singing in Comanche All for All songs.
That's always great to hear.
Yeah, and we want everybody to come out and be a part of those things because it's so wonderful when we're able to share like all of the things we've been doing, the kids learning and growing and the language. When parents show up and they get to see what these young people are actually accomplishing, it's really amazing. We have a playground now. I wanted to throw that out there because, man, the kids are going crazy. They've got slides now. They've got monkey bars. So, yeah, there's just so many different opportunities that we have. And one of those literacy nights, they were making little fry bread out of like clay or something.
Oh, really?
And then they got to decorate it. And so I'm telling you, man, they have like woven the Comanche culture into every fiber of this school. And we want people to come get involved. And we want volunteers. And we want parents to come and help monitor, hallways and things like that. And so anything that parents want to be a part of, we most definitely want them to come and get involved. And so that's why we plan these events, is to let the community know, like, hey, this is our mission. This is our goal. These are the fruits of our labor. Like, come out and check them out, man. These kids are awesome.
Okay, yeah. And if there's any additional families or community members that want to get involved with the Comanche Academy, is there a process? How do they get involved?
Yeah, there's all kinds of different ways that you can get involved, from the PTA, the parent committee. You can become a board member. There's different volunteer opportunities that we were talking about, such as coming to help decorate the hallways for Christmas that's coming up, and just volunteering to read to the classrooms, anything, any help. We're always more than happy to receive the help from the community. We want the kids to feel like they are part of the community, and they want to be able to see, like, oh, my mom or my dad or my grandparent or my auntie or my uncle, thinks so much about me and my school that they want to come and help. So it's definitely a way for the community to get involved. I can tell you how I got involved. I went to my daughter was asking me, can you, come to my school and help out, in some way? I'm like, sure. So I went to go read a book, and then reading a book led to going to a board meeting. And then from attending to a board meeting, becoming a board member, and then eventually becoming the president of the board. And so, there are different ways that you can become involved, and we're so thankful for all of the volunteers and all different community members that have, committed to helping the school in any way that they can. We're very, very thankful for them.
Yeah, and if some who maybe don't have the time because, busy schedules and things like that, but they obviously want to see the Academy grow, can they donate in any way to the Academy?
Absolutely. So we're always accepting donations to the school. And if you do donate, we do offer a tax write-off form that we can fill out and supply to you for any amount that you are willing to donate to the school.
Right. Yeah, most definitely. Because everything that is given, we give into, serving these kids, from different programs to different even after school activities. So I think this year we have culinary. There was a media club. And so, donations like that can pay for equipment for kids to learn how to do what we're doing right now, which is really cool. So the, media clubs there. And so I want people to know that anything that you do give, whether it be your time, your resources, your finances, all of it goes to the improvement of the Comanche Academy, for the kids.
And are there any current needs that you can think of on the top of your head?
So what our school really needs, well, we mentioned earlier that we finally have a playground. It's the biggest thing. but we are lacking a few things, for the playground, such as balls, jump ropes, chalks. I had a wonderful donator 2 years ago who bought me 26 basketballs for my classroom.
Oh, wow.
Unfortunately, over time, being left out, they're not working so much anymore. So that is like an immediate need for us. The kids, they're wanting more stuff on the playground. So that says what we're looking for is if anyone's willing to donate some of that. And also we're looking for people who are wanting to come in and help decorate for Christmas, because we're wanting to deck the halls. So the building's much larger. And if we could have volunteers that would come in and help do that for us, because our theme is Deck the Halls this year. So definitely that. And we would love people to come in and read. In the past, we've had elders come in, give a lesson, do an arts and craft project. The kids love that. They love when an elder comes in and that kaku's sitting there for an hour, and then she'll just play with them, because that's such an enlivening and loving moment for them.
So for someone who wants to get involved, is there a social media base for you guys?
Yes, we do have Facebook, which we utilize, and we also use our website, ComancheAcademy.com. You can see that, and you're welcome to call up to the school, and we can get you directed to wherever you need to go with, or if it's the culture committee that you're wanting to join, or the powwow committee, or if you're interested in joining the school board, the foundation, and then the PTA. There's so many events. But you would just call the office and we would get you directed to the right place.
Yeah, and don't underestimate Google. You can Google the Comanche Academy and it'll pull up our resources. Give us a call and our office lady will direct you in any way, shape, or form. So Google is awesome.
And I know in the past, and this has been a question that even I've heard, now that it is the academy and they're curious about reserving the auditorium and gym like they did in the past, is that still something the community can do?
Yes, it is. So the only requirement you have is after school hours.
Okay.
That way, it allows us to keep the campus safe for the students. You just call up to the school. We have a rental agreement. It's the same one that was in place before, just it'll go through Miss Brenna on campus, and she'll contact you, and she lets you in the building and everything on the day you rent.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so now I kind of just want to talk about like a little bit of the achievements that have been going on at the academy. So how have students been performing academically, and what do recent test scores indicate about this progress?
Okay, so we did receive a deficiency for the 2023 testing. That was our very first year to test, they did receive a deficiency. So they passed a new law that said 55% or more that test below basic, you will receive a deficiency, and we did. And so what our game plan has been since then is to enrich our curriculum, enrich our small groups, make sure we're touching base, like Mr. Travis mentioned earlier. We're tailoring our education specifically towards these students, and we're trying to meet the students where they're at instead of trying to teach across the board. And that's what our strength is now.
Yeah, and so I just want to, take this moment to, say that Native American students as a whole are, 1.5 times more likely to have or be eligible for special education services. I think what it is we're trying to fit, a group of people into a system that was never designed for them. Standardized testing and things like that. I mean, it has its place, and we do abide by it, and we do believe academics first. I love that Mrs. Foy here, she shares that vision with me, that we want students to be students first. But what we're seeing, though, is that, these group of children, they come from different circumstances, different walks of life. And like I said, we're holistically approaching their education. And so sometimes maybe on paper, it will look a little worse than it is. But we're figuring out that as we go, because these aren't students that you can just set up shop in a classroom and just jump in straight to teaching, like most people would imagine. But we're having to navigate through so many different things to get to those moments of instruction. And so I think that's really important to understand is that Native Americans are kind of at a disadvantage when it comes to education initially. And so we're attempting to help them to overcome that. And I do believe that this year we have been rigorous with our progress monitoring, rigorous with our reading intervention, just reading, even the community events of reading. We want our students to excel, and we won't stop until they do. We believe in every single one of them that they are going to be overcomers, that they're going to be successful, and any kind of help from the parents coming to those events helps support what we're trying to do, which is close the gap for these kids.
Yeah, so we did receive better scores this past year. So what we did was increase and enrich our curriculum. We have curriculum for all grade levels now, from pre-K through 5th grade. So we're using the HMH Wonders curriculum. And we also use Singapore for our math. And so we're doing it with fidelity. We're doing it with rigor. And it's just making sure we're meeting that. So our next testing session will be this coming year in April. We also will be in the random selection for the NAEP testing, which kids across the nation are getting their name put in a hat to be taken on that. So there's a possibility that some of our kids 3rd through 5th will have to participate in the random testing.
Okay, and so what is for, obviously you have this passion when you talk about these students and you want them to succeed. What is the future looking like for the Academy? I know it kind of stops at a certain grade. Where do you see the Academy going in the coming years?
We, definitely have high hopes for the school. I think it's a vision of every single one of us in this room that, we want to be able to support all students pre-K through 12th grade. And, that is a hope and a vision that I have. I know that the teachers and the staff, would support that. As long as we have, the right staff and we're working towards that. As long as we have, the support that we would need, I definitely would love to see that.
Yeah, I mean, what we're doing essentially is creating an environment where these kids belong. And so no matter the hurdle, no matter the obstacle, we as a team have found a way to come together and be united to be successful, that these kids can continue to have that place. And so K through 12, I was told, has always been the mission. And so I believe that we're going to fight and we're going to overcome every trial that it takes to make sure that these kids have a place, that they belong, that they are loved, and they are celebrated for who they are through and through. And so that is a wonderful vision, Miss Brianna, that, we want to give these kids a place where they don't have to worry about going, to another school and having to say goodbye, because, these aren't just normal teachers. Like Mrs. Foy said, these are, this is Auntie Hart, man. These are, uncles, these are grandparents. This is a family tribe environment. And if you haven't experienced it yet, it's easy to look at it and kind of critique and criticize. But I would encourage you that if you're on the fence about the Academy, just come and volunteer. And I'm telling you, it will change the way that you see everything. Once you meet these children and you see the work that's going on, the passion from every team member, the sacrifice. Some of the people are literally full-time college students while they're working full-time jobs to hold their credentials that are necessary for this place to be open. Even me, I volunteered at a Comanche Nation language fair. My wife, I was actually part of Lawton Public School District, and she was like, you got to come see what they're doing. And my son went to compete, and I met what is now the 5th grade class. And man, I came in with a very, mind like, this is wild. This is such a huge, ambitious endeavor. Like, what's going on? But when I volunteered, and I seen that there was something more. It's almost spiritual what's going on, like how all of these things are coming together. These kids are soaking in this language and able to apply it and use it, and you're watching it happen, and you see it's magical, right? And so when you come and you volunteer and you're exposed to that, it changes any kind of perception or logic you might have about things. And I know because I was like that, but when you try it for yourself and you see how wonderful it is, you'll understand now why people are like, we'll go tooth and nail for this school. It's not because we want to be anything great, but it's because we believe that we have the greatest kids and we'll do anything for them. So come on out to the academy. I'm telling you, meet them. They love interactions with people. They love to use their language, and they love to show what they know. And it only matters if we have a community that appreciates what they're doing and encourages them and supports them. If they're learning all of this and there's no support from other tribal members, then they're going to wonder, why are we trying to save, why are we preserving this if nobody else cares or wants to be a part? And so I encourage everybody that watches this episode today to come meet our children, come meet them and come and experience how wonderful they are, from literally pre-K to, you walk through the hallways and it's just, it's hard to have a bad day. The kids won't let you, you know what I mean? And so, I'm so thankful that we have a vision and that we have a purpose. And go ahead.
I would say, the dream of our founders that started our school, it not only was their dream, but it became the dream of this huge community that we have here in Comanche Nation. It became the dream of every teacher, every school board member, every parent. So, just that little bitty seed of that thought that they had has bloomed into this beautiful school where we're sitting at now. And it's up to everyone to make sure that this dream continues. And this is a great way for the community to help us to succeed, is to come on in and help us grow our school all the way to 12th grade.
As you can see, we have the best teachers.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I can feel the love and the passion in this room, discussing all of this. And I would love to, wrap up the podcast with maybe a couple success stories that has happened with the children at the academy, just big or small.
You want to talk about the fair? Yeah?
The fair.
The language fair.
The language fair?
Oh, we have gone and...
Oh, yeah, we took all the trophies home.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow. We went up there and we did our thing, man. Comanche Academy put on.
I was there. I witnessed it.
Did you?
Yeah.
Those kids, when it's fair time and it's time to go to language fair, they are pumped. They work so hard in language class. They practice in the hall. They visit other classrooms. They go on, I would say, like tours to go to different businesses to go platform themselves. And when they go out there to the fair, oh my gosh, it's their moment. And they are so proud to be there on the stage with all the other Native children in Oklahoma and in this region. It's the moment for the whole year that they build up for.
Yeah, and there's lots of competition there. There's other Indigenous charter schools that come and participate in that language fair that compete. And we went in there and man, we took some trophies home. Both years I've been a part of it. The kids love it. They love to compete. And what it is they're not just competing for them. They're looking at it as like, man, I've got the whole Comanche Nation on my shoulders. These kids really do burden that. And so when they go, they do that. They represent us and they do amazing. They wouldn't stop until they got me speaking Comanche. So even my kids that it's in there, like I said, he calls me Appa. Like if I try to just use English words, they're like, Dad, come on, use this. And I'm like, man, I'm 31 years old. I've always said it this way, but they recently just taught me how to introduce myself in Comanche. And that was like one of the real first times I've ever felt part of the nation was when I finally realized this does belong to me. And it belongs to them and it belongs to you, and so we just want to do our part and bragging on the kids. They won the basketball tournament this year at the Comanche Fair. Mm-hmm. Our boys won that.
Our 8 and under, they participated during the fair, and then also the 6 and under team did. And, our kids participate at the Lawton Soccer League every weekend. So they're doing amazing over there. We have a bunch of parent volunteers who coach through the summer. To the fall and spring sometimes we'll do that. And then we have a team that plays at the YMCA for the basketball time. Oh, and our kids, they are sports kids. They love the opportunities that, they get to do for these. We also have a cheer team that's going on. So,
wow.
And I think having those partnerships with the parents that coach the basketball, the soccer, the cheer, it's only making them feel good because I cannot tell you how these girls are coming down. Miss Foy. I'm like, what? And they went, watch us cheer. And they do it and they have this proud look on their face. And I'm just so proud of them for doing that. And that's a huge success because it's instilling confidence in them. Where, I can do this cheer. I can shoot a basketball. Watch me. I can kick the ball. And they do their little foot trick. And because we have wonderful coaches across all 3 of those things. And that's one thing I really believe is important for them. Because, at school, we try to push the healthy and fit initiative, our wellness initiative, and having the sports on campus, that's a success for us. Even if it's not housed right with us and we have to go use other entities, it's still a success because our kids still have those opportunities.
Yeah, and last year we had this really cool event where the teachers, we all had inflatable costumes, and we were out there running and racing, and I think the greatest success that we have here is that our kids are happy. They genuinely like coming to school. My kids personally, I'll be like, you want to stay home today? You need a break? And they're like, no. And my son, he's putting his boots on, and he won't let me leave him at home because he actually enjoys school. And for me, as somebody who struggled in school, I couldn't stand it, right? And so it's wonderful that my kids are excited to be somewhere. And so I think that's true for a lot of our kids. Is, man, they would live there if they could. They all hang out together and trying to get them when it's time to go home. We're like, let's go. And they're, over here with a group of 5 or 6 kids. And it reminds me growing up of, I grew up with all my cousins, at my kaku's house. And so for me, I just thought that was specific to my family, but I didn't realize that it was something that we all kind of shared, that, we do that. And so, I think that's our greatest success is we've created a school where kids are happy.
Well, thank you so much for sharing those experiences with me and with our listeners today.
Absolutely.
And again, thanks for coming on the podcast. And listeners, we'll catch you on the next one.